Welcome to the Lockshield Partners podcast. We believe in financial literacy and love to provide quality information when it comes to areas around financial planning and how it impacts your life. To learn more about what we do and how we serve our clients, visit us at lockshieldpartners.com.
Well, Dan, welcome back. We've got our fourth edition of the Lockshield Partners podcast today. And today we're going to talk about Roth versus PreTax.
Yeah, great one.
We hear these terms all the time. There's a lot of confusion about what those two things mean. So let's just kind of start very, very ground level. What's Roth?
Sure.
That word sounds so weird.
So let's do a walk through history. So before the 1970s, 1980s, it was really pension plans.
Right.
Then came the individual retirement accounts, IRAs, which were always pre-tax, meaning I deduct it going in, I pay taxes on it plus the growth coming out. Then in the late 90s, mid to late 90s, Americans, believe it or not, were not saving enough for retirement. And so this senator from Delaware, William Roth, came up with this idea of we need to sweeten the deal a little bit. Let's sweeten the pot a little bit. Let's give this tax freebie, which the IRS does not do very often, which should tell us something. We should take advantage of those. Said, let's have it. If people put in money after tax, meaning it's in your bank account, then they can take their principal out plus all of the earnings tax-free. And as financial planners, accountants, we love tax-free. So it started in 1998. So the Roth is named after William Roth. And it's just how the IRS looks at our retirement money. If you've paid taxes on it once, we don't expect you to pay taxes on it plus the earnings. That's the big part. Again, if you haven't paid taxes on it, then we would like our share when you start pulling it out.
They're going to want their cut at some point.
The IRS is funny like that.
Yeah. So let's dive into maybe some of the mechanics of this day, and then let's also walk through an example to help illustrate the difference. So let's start on the pre-tax side. And sometimes people may also hear the term traditional.
Yep.
Pre-tax and traditional mean the same thing in retirement world. And
we didn't used to have a traditional until the Roth came because there was only an IRA.
That was the only choice.
Yeah. Now we got to call it traditional versus to distinguish that from a Roth.
Right. So the first thing I want to note is there are tons of different retirement accounts that people can contribute to.
Alphabet soup.
There's a lot. 401k, IRA, Roth IRA, SEP, whatever. We could go back and forth for days. But high level, I think it's important for people to understand there's two basic tax buckets.
Well said.
You've got traditional, pre-tax, or Roth. Most of the time, you can choose which tax bucket you want to contribute to within the retirement vehicle that you're saving in.
That's right.
So let's start with pre-tax. So
otherwise known as
traditional.
Traditional.
I think the best way to describe this, Dan, is to say, let's use some basic math to help illustrate it. Somebody makes $100,000 a year. They put $10,000 into their traditional 401k. They get a tax deduction, which means that when they file their taxes in the spring, their income shows up as 90.
That's right.
Not as 100. So that's how the deduction works. Now, the flip side to that is 30 years from now, when they take that money out, all of the money that's in that account, whatever they contributed and whatever their employer contributed, whatever they earned on that money, that's all taxable. So they will be paying tax when they distribute that money in the future at whatever the tax rates are at that time.
That's right. And it's not like you get to age 60 or 65 and you just cash it out.
Right.
It's usually done over the course of your retirement.
Right. So it may not necessarily be a one-time.
But still, you have
there's some
future tax liability.
There's some tax risk there. We don't know what tax rates will be.
Correct.
Same example, but now let's flip it to Roth. So oftentimes people call Roth after-tax money. I think that can be a little bit misleading because I often hear from clients or when we get questions from other folks that they think when they make Roth contributions, they're taxed twice.
They have to report it, which you don't.
I
mean, you should record it on your tax returns that you make a Roth.
It's best practice.
Best practice. not the most common practice, but it's the best practice.
It's the best practice.
But you're right. You don't pay taxes on it again.
Right. So let's use that same example. We have a family who makes $100,000. They put $10,000, but now it's going into their Roth 401k. They choose to make Roth contributions inside the 401k. Now, when they file their tax return, $100,000 still shows up as their income.
Even though they don't get the benefit of the money now,
Right.
it's still taxable income to them in the year it went into their Roth pot.
Yes. Yes. So again, they're not paying an extra $10,000. It's just the basic salary.
That's right.
Now, the benefit to them long term, that $10,000 a year that they're putting in, plus the 30 years of compound interest on top of it, now it's all tax free.
Right. And obviously, the longer that window, 30 years is a no brainer. 1 year is nice to get tax free money, but
Right.
the longer your window,
the more bang there is for that Roth contribution.
Yes, bang, explosion, whatever you want to call it.
Whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
What I often like to say to clients, Stan, is, when it comes to your finances, flexibility and liquidity are good.
Yeah.
The more of those you can have, the better.
Right.
There's no vehicle that provides that like a Roth-based retirement
Love
account.
Roths. Love Roths. And there's a theoretical academic debate as to, whether you should do the Roth and pay taxes now, or whether you should deduct it and pay taxes later. From a financial planning point of view, in the wild, what we see with our clients is, it's really just like you'd like to have your mortgage paid off. It's really nice to have tax liability eliminated. Maybe not all of your retirement money, but certainly a portion of your retirement money.
Sometimes peace of mind and the behavioral side of finance is a lot more important than what the textbook says.
Absolutely.
I think the other pushback I would have on that debate is, right now tax rates are fairly low from a historical standpoint. Probably going up at some point. We don't know that.
Right. At some point, yes.
But I'd rather eliminate the risk.
Correct. And I'm a fan of tax me once, because I love living in this country. And there's a lot of benefits of living in this country, but we pay a lot of taxes. We go to the gas station, we pay taxes, our property tax, our sales tax, not to mention our income tax.
Right.
It's a lot. So I want to have some money that take your share once and then leave my money alone.
Yeah, I'm with you. So Dan, let's try to illustrate maybe the power of Roth savings over time. So we're going to do a very basic calculation. We've talked about future value on our podcast before, and the variables that go into that.
Eighth wonder of the world.
Oh, it's wonderful. So I'm going to walk slowly through a calculation. If I start getting too into the weeds, you tell me to stop.
Yeah, you do that, but that's good. That's why you're good at what you do.
But let's just try to illustrate the power of Roth savings over time.
Let's run the numbers.
So we've got a household. They make 120 grand a year. They save 10% a year into their 401k. So $12,000. That puts them in the 22% marginal tax bracket.
Okay. Not extremely low, not extremely high.
Fairly average, I would say.
Yep.
So if you're following me, that $12,000 a year, if they were making pre-tax contributions, they would save 22% of that.
Traditional pre-tax. Yep.
So that would be $2,640 of tax savings per year. Right now. Not nothing. That'd be a couple $100 a month. I'm sure that household could find a use for that money.
Right.
So if they did that for 30 years, that would be a tax savings of about $79,000 over a 30-year period.
If they kept the numbers the same.
If you kept the numbers the exact same.
Just keep it
simple. So for ease of calculation, let's do that.
So $79,000.
$79,000 in taxes saved.
Okay.
By doing traditional contributions.
Which would be a couple $100 a month over that time period.
Over that 30-year period.
And maybe they do something smart with that $200 a month.
Maybe. We could dive into all kinds of calculations. Yeah, sure. So who knows? When those folks retire, that portfolio has a future value of just a little bit under $1.4 million.
Okay. At an average rate of return of
8% a year.
Okay. 8% which is reasonable over a long period of time.
Yeah. $1.4 million. Now, if they have that same 22% tax rate in retirement, the projected tax liability on that money is $300,000. So they saved about $80,000
Yeah.
to then pay $300
Yeah.
in the future.
Yeah.
Now, if we flip that, so same numbers, but let's just flip the concept. If they were making Roth contributions, they would have paid an extra $2,000, $2,500 a year in federal tax liability for a 30-year period. Again, not nothing.
Right.
But the flip side to that is essentially they have an extra $300,000 in that retirement pot down the road.
At a time where they are not producing income anymore.
Right.
That's
we want to
significant.
eliminate as many unnecessary expenses as possible in retirement.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big expense.
That's huge. And what you and I see on a daily basis working with clients is for people who plan well for retirement, they're not really in a low tax bracket, which is not a bad thing. We'd rather have an income tax problem than an income problem.
We can plan for income taxes.
We can plan for it. And if you have a big chunk of Roth money, what a great faucet to be able to turn on to minimize, reduce, eliminate your tax liability in retirement.
I think it's important to note, Dan, as we wrap up here, that when we get into retirement, when we take Roth money out, whether it's $1,000 a year, $100,000 a year, that's all tax free.
It's all tax free.
Meaning that we don't pay more tax on our pension income.
That's huge.
We don't pay more tax on our Social Security
It
benefits.
doesn't drag your Social Security benefits to be taxable.
There's a waterfall effect when we take out traditional or pre-tax retirement assets. It can cause our tax rate on all those other income streams to be higher as well.
Yeah, that's huge. And most people don't recognize it because you may pay 10% bracket, but if all of a sudden you're dragging in 30,000 of Social Security income, all of a sudden you're paying 20%. And a lot of times in retirement planning, income planning, it's so much a month, and then the big things hit.
Right.
I need 40 grand for a car. I need this for a roof, for teeth, for whatever.
Yeah.
And that's where that pre-tax can really start to sting.
I think, Dan, as we put a bow on this, I think a really good way to frame up retirement income is if your basics, if your necessities can be met by Social Security income and maybe some pre-tax retirement contributions, and then you've got that Roth money for all the extra stuff, the big purchases, the big trips, spoiling your grandkids, replacing the roof, the car, whatever, that just gives you an incredible amount of flexibility.
Yeah. We love Roth money.
Awesome. Dan, thanks so much. And for all of our listeners out there, if you have any additional questions or want more information, make sure to check out our website at lockshieldpartners.com.